Hello, everyone. I was going to say good morning, but it's not morning everywhere. So, hello, everyone. Happy 2025. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're really excited to do a little tea and tarot, or at least some tarot, if not some tea. So, we'll see what we've got out there. So, thank you for joining us. And we're going to start, as we always do, with some breathing. So, that's first, and then we're going to drop right into the cards. So, and Jenna's joining me, and I'll introduce her when we're done breathing. Okay, so here we go. Just take a moment to really just notice where you are. Find your place. You can close your eyes, you can drop your gaze, you can do whatever feels comfortable for you. And just bring your awareness inward. Take a normal breath. Move your shoulders, maybe move your hips. On your next inhale, gentle inhale, just bring yourself here. And again, just let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Bring your awareness into your body. You can come in through your third eye, your heart, your sacral, wherever you are comfortable, bringing awareness into your body. And now we're going to breathe together, breathing in and just expanding the belly as you breathe. And exhaling through your mouth. Dropping your shoulders, relaxing your hips, breathing in, expanding your belly. Exhaling when you're ready. Feeling the energy of the earth beneath you. Feeling the support of all those who have come before as you breathe in, expanding the belly. And exhaling, honoring those who walked this land, lived on this land before you. As you do that, breathe in up through the soles of your feet, feeling that support, feeling that energy, expanding your belly. Exhaling when you're ready. Feeling anything drop away that needs to drop away. And one more breath up through the core of the earth, up through your soles of your feet, feeling the support of your ancestors, of those who've been here before, feeling that healing energy of the earth, expanding the belly. And when you're ready, releasing and gently finding your way back. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to have everyone. And so excited to have Jenna with us. So Jenna, I'm just going to ask you to unmute right away. So Jenna Monaco Shaffer is the founder of Santa Cruz Mountain Reiki. She is also someone that I have been fortunate enough to know now we're going on our 6th year, I believe. Is that true?
It is
I
that's
think
wild.
I think we met in May of 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
So I have found Jenna to be one of the best tarot intuitives, and it's just been a delight to have our time together. And during the pandemic, starting in 2020, I think we started in April or May, can't remember exactly. We started doing tea and tarot online on Instagram, and I had been doing tea and tarot for a while at home, even before I knew Jenna. Like, I don't even think you got to come to one of them because, we met at a time where things were changing. And so, I had never done an Instagram live. So I reach out to my wonderful millennial student and say, hey, how do we do this? And she says, oh, it's so easy. Let's just do it. So we did it together and it was so much fun. And so Jenna, as you've moved through so much yourself in the last 5+ years, what would you say about your tarot intuitive self and your growth and evolution, and anything you want to share with anyone about, what is it like to learn the tarot and then deepen into it so much that you now offer that intuitive readings, astrology to others? How's that journey been?
Well, first of all, thank you for your kind words. I don't take that lightly. And the journey's been really empowering.
Mhm.
Um, and I think has taught me, has it been a tool to help me with my work with my intuition, understand it. I feel like our intuition, just like our bodies, all speak to us
Mhm.
and in unique ways to us. And so the tarot has been such a helpful teacher alongside you um, to understanding my intuition and how it speaks to me and being able to offer that
Mhm.
wisdom that comes through to others with the intention
Mhm.
of empowering them to do the same.
Mhm.
Um, because we can all do this. And I think that that's the coolest, most amazing part of intuitive work and using tarot or any other modality is that it's available to everybody.
It totally is.
So
Yes. Do you remember there were those early years where, remember we would just do tarot readings over and over and over again. And I'd just be like, and in the beginning, we didn't have to meet online. So we were, doing it in person. I'd be like, okay, what do you feel in this card? What do you see in this card? And there was no books in the beginning, zero books. I mean, I told you which ones to get eventually, but the entire process of learning tarot, it's very deep it's deep in our psyche. We
yeah.
know what we feel. We know what we see. We know what's in there. What was it like when you started adding in well, I know, and you actually had another book that you had been using too. So when you looked back at those early years and you had I remember you had that book that I can't remember the name of I think it was the Biddy Tarot book. Maybe it was,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you look back, how do you see your process when it came to like learning the traditional meanings versus the internal knowing?
Um, I think if I were to sum it up in a sentence, it was that I knew more than I thought I knew, and that was shocking.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. It is. It's really cool. It's really cool. But yes, I mean, that's the truth of it, actually. You always know
Yeah.
more than you think you know. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was so shocking and hard for me to believe. I have a journey with confidence that I've been on. And so that it was a building of
Mhm.
trust in myself, which
Mhm.
garnered that self-confidence.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, every time you'd ask me what it meant, I was so nervous to get it wrong, or I was so nervous to mess it up, or, all of those things. And then with your guidance and courage, I was able to, say what what I was feeling, and you were always like, yes. And I was like, what do you mean? And I'd open the book.
How is that possible?
Yeah, and then I'd open the book after and I
Mhm.
would kind of fill in the blanks.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but overall, I was just so amazed
Mhm.
at the congruency there.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's magical and special in that
It's
way.
great. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. So, one of the things, I mean, everybody should know this. I fill in the blanks too. We can easily get into our own So here's an interesting side note. We can pick a card and we can be like, oh yeah, this card means this. Like we don't even check in. And that's not always a good plan. You always want to check in first and then be like, okay, this is my go-to card for this. That's helpful because there's always something new to learn. There's always something that wants to come through. So I have many books as evidenced. Some of those are astrology, but checking books, checking with your friends, doing things in a group like what we're going to do on Saturday with the Wheel of the Year. Um, this this is really the best way to do it, and to rely on your inner knowing. And then I personally have outside checks like a counselor, a coach, an astrology mentor. I go outside myself as well. But I think to really training this inner knowing is the key to pretty much everything, but certainly the tarot at any.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to pull some cards just like we used to do. And Jenna, thank you so much. And then I know most of you are actually signed up for Tea and Tarot on Saturdays. So, but if there is someone who wants to sign up, we can put that in the chat after we're done with this. And I know Jenna has to leave in 15 minutes. So I'm on a time schedule this morning, which is not bad. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Time is good. I will say, as I'm shuffling, just to kind of put this in there, if anyone else is feeling a little less energized than normal, that would be me. I'm really going to go with the Mars retrograde heading back into Cancer. That's my go-to right now. I was thinking about that. So instead of being unhappy, I'm going to turn something off. Instead of being unhappy with how I'm feeling, which is not very rested, considering I just took a week of hibernation. I think it's better to look at, okay, so what does Mars in retrograde in Cancer really want from each of us individually and collectively? So it's kind of where I'm at today in my questioning and my inquiry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Just like, okay, so I don't feel energized. What else what else is here for me? What else is a possibility in this moment? So, all right, I've got these cards, but I always, when we did our lives, I always pulled a MotherPeace for our anchor card. So I've returned with the MotherPeace anchor cards. These are my special ones that I've had for a really long time. Long time. Don't know how long. It's been a long time. 40 years? No, I don't know. I can't remember. However long they've been out. So I'd have to look. They're round. I love them. Okay, so I'm going to pull an anchor card for us for this week. There we go. Always listen, right? Always listen. Well, isn't this lovely?
I love that.
It's the sun. So this is what we always used to do. So Jenna, what do you see, feel, notice in the sun for us this week?
I see play. I see warmth. I see a very childlike quality to the card. Um, and I see emotional freedom today.
I love that. Oh, take a big breath on that one, right? That's great. Okay. And so now I'm going to give you a little hint into how my brain works a little bit too. So when I look at this card, I'm noticing the giraffe and the zebra. And I don't know if this is a swallowtail butterfly. I have no idea what kind of butterfly it is. And I'm reminded of South Africa. And there's a whole thing that I can't share publicly, but what I will say is this reminds me that I need to contact my friends in South Africa today. So that's a very like straightforward read. That's not like for everyone on unless you have friends in South Africa you'd like to contact, go for it. But sometimes that's what happens. Like it's like, oh right, I mean this I need to remember to do this. So I'm really appreciating what you said about the joy and the emotional freedom. I love that phrase too. I love that. That's something to dive into. Like, what is that exactly?
Yeah, I don't know. It's what
Yeah.
came to me today.
No, I like it. Like, well, let's find out what that is.
Yeah.
All right. And then we go to Jenna and she pulls a card.
Okay. I just shuffle. There's no right or wrong way to shuffle. And I just see what honestly flies out when I shuffle. So I'm just asking questions. And then whatever fell out is kind of what I work with. And they're two queens. So this is
Cool.
really, really interesting. Talking about the Mars retrograde is kind of where I'm going with it.
Mhm.
But the Queen of Swords
Mm.
and the Queen of Cups.
Wow. Cool. I love it. So we're just going to let everybody kind of take that in for a minute. And some decks are more art intuitive than others. This one has very subtle, I believe, ways of showing us potential meanings for the cards.
Mhm.
I love it. Mm. Well, I'm just going to say this one thing about the both of them actually, but Queen of Swords, we're looking at our mind, right? And how we are approaching things in our mind, right? And Venus Mars, yes, absolutely. And then with the cups, I'm thinking about that emotional freedom again. Queen of Cups could say that she has emotional freedom. That's something she could say because of the process that leads to the Queen of Cups. So I like that we're deepening in. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you're doing that and you posed the question and you were in the energy of the Mars retrograde, what was coming up for you when you saw those two cards?
Um, the spectrum of emotion,
Mm-hmm.
and working with our emotion. This is
Mm-hmm.
called the Moonchild Tarot by Danielle Noel. That's a wonderful deck. With the Queen of Swords, the story that I have around her is that she makes decisions from a very logical
Mm-hmm.
space
Right.
while honoring her emotions. Like they're there, but they're not in the driver's seat.
Right.
The Queen of Cups comes from an intuitive place, so there is a little bit of a different decision-making process, but she's still grounded in her emotions and her
Yes.
understanding of emotions. And so they're coming from different, very different places, but I see a lot of balance with the two of
Mm-hmm.
them being present
Yeah.
together.
Agreed.
And so, like Mars energy, fiery beginning, like air, I think of Aries. So I'm thinking like the
Mm-hmm.
fiery, the passionate, the energy, the go, the do, coupled with the Cancerian energy of intuition, going inside, emotional intelligence, all of those things. Like that's kind of where I'm building out
Mm-hmm.
my inquiry, I
Yes.
guess.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes. See, she's so good. See, I feel so she's so good.
how
What
are
I would
you?
like what I would
The
like to
best.
yeah, what I would like to add to that is when Mars goes into Cancer, which is what's happening, we have the energy, Mars energy, right? Our creative life force energy needs to rely more on intuition than actual, because when in Leo, and this is actually a very Leo card, when in Leo, there's the fire, which is more of wands, if we want to go more into the tarot elements. But there is this like fire that comes up and it's embodied, right? And it can go to the thought process pretty quickly. When in Cancer, it goes goes deep. And so there is a need for us to rely more on our emotions. So based on those cards, I would say that the cards are saying do both. Be in the element of excellence of your thinking, right? But also find your intuition and your emotional intelligence. So I love that personally. I'm pretty excited about your pull there. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card now from the Light Seers Tarot. And my way of doing it, we each have our own way. And I'm listening. I ask the question and I just let the deck fall open. And then I happen to take the top card. So, but one of my mentors, she will, I'll tell you in a minute what she does. It's pretty cool. Okay. So here's the card that I pulled, the next card. If I can get it to come into focus. There we go.
Mm. Mm.
Seven of Pentacles, right? So now we've pulled in an earth element, right? The material realm. I know, such a good card, right?
Uh-huh.
I hear this phrase. How is your garden growing? What are you growing? What are you focusing on?
Mm.
Which kind of makes sense too, given some of the other aspects that we're in. And we'll make sense of that. I think overall in a few moments, we'll kind of pull them all together. But Jenna, what do you notice in this card?
Um, if Kristen was here, she would laugh. But I see Reiki. I see him doing Reiki
Mhm.
on the plant.
Yeah.
Um, I see like very similar to you, Denise, that tending to the garden. I'm thinking about your home. What are you nourishing through your
Mhm.
thoughts, through your actions, through your what are your emotions telling you about what's coming, what's surfacing, right? And then what are we moving with, I guess. So I feel like there's an embodied part of this that's like, what are we nourishing?
Mhm.
Um, and nurturing and growing.
Mhm.
And I see so many like colors down
Yeah.
here that I'm really drawn to. There were like energy spots of the roots, which is
Mhm.
really cool.
Mhm.
So, and is that a snake or is that just the roots?
I think it's just
Just
the
the
roots,
roots.
but if you see a snake, you just ask yourself, what is that reminding me of?
Yeah, transformation.
Yeah. Yeah. It's whatever you see, I mean, it's whatever you see.
That's what I
It's
saw.
there for you. Yeah. No, I really love what you had to say. And I want to point out something. If you're listening carefully, you can hear that Jenna is creating a narrative around each of the cards, right? Story is how we have learned from day one of being on this planet. So don't be afraid to make up a story with your cards. Let the story come through you. That's what this is all about. There was a time where this is a while back, but there was a phrase going around, I don't want to hear your story. Don't tell me your story. I'm gonna, I don't, you probably don't remember that, but it was a thing for a while. And
Interesting.
what people were trying to say is, I don't want to hear your trauma. Basically, I think that's what they were saying. But I think it is in our stories that we connect, and it's important to share our stories in ways that are supportive, I think, for our own growth and evolution. I think that's imperative. But I think when we look at tarot cards, if there's a story that pops right into your head, a story of, wow, tending to, and what is nourishing, and oh, I can really feel that in my body. What is that? That's how we do this. My story happens to include South Africa at this moment, but if it didn't include South Africa, I would be telling a story about the world or the connection between all of us and that growth and joy. right? And with the queens, I would be telling a story about our inner nobility, like our
Mm.
sovereignty, right? So, like, how do we want to tell the story? Our story and the collective story. So, anyway, those are, oh, I was going to tell you this and then Jenna's going to go. So, let's pretend I'm going to pull cards. Here's what one of my mentors does. She's like, okay, a number between 1 and 10. Okay, I'm going to go with 3. And then she divides the deck into 3. And then she puts it back together. And then she asks again, a number between 1 and whatever, 80, 74, 76. And then she counts down to that number. So she's separate. So it's very elaborate, like separates it out.
Yeah,
And then, okay, so number 7. And then she counts down to the 7th card.
that's amazing.
Right. So, I mean, you do whatever feels right. Okay. So it's your
Yeah.
turn. Do you want to pull another card?
I have one more deck that you
Okay.
gifted
I
me.
know, I know we're on a time schedule. So,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's the Wisdom del Alma
Oh, I
by
love that deck.
Dean Gutierrez.
Yeah.
And so
This
this
is,
one's an affirmations
mhm.
deck that just
Isn't that
feels,
the best? I love that deck.
love it. It's thank you for gifting it to me, Denise. It's
Of
really
course.
special.
Hey, house,
They have,
50% off. Watch your emails.
yeah, yeah. They've got great sales. Okay, and then sometimes something doesn't fly out, but I just know, you
Mhm.
know? So it's really, I don't know, it just like muscle test.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea too.
Ooh,
I love that.
that's great. That is great, Brittany. Okay, so it's tree roots again.
Okay, so this is interesting because look, okay, so now we're going to do this fun thing where we put them both up on the. There's a message. Okay.
Yep. I am the strength of my ancestors, resilience.
Mhm.
And then the bottom or the back says, today I honor the growth of my ancestors and tap into the power of knowing that I am living out my ancestors' wildest dreams. I have their strength to support me right here and now.
Okay, we keep getting that message. I mean, ancestors are a big part of the teachings for this year. If you're working with me individually, you are going to be experiencing that quite a bit. Um, thank you, Jenna.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to try to hold up all our cards and then we're going to let Jenna go off to her session. Hmm, these are so good. Okay, so we've got the MotherPeace. We have the Moonchild Oracle. We have the Light Seers, and we have what is that called, Jenna? I've got it right here. But
Um, Wisdom del Alma.
yeah, Wisdom Dome, right? So lovely people. I feel like Jane Pike when I say that. You don't know Jenna, but she's cool. Okay, lovely people. There's so much richness here. Thank you, Nancy. There's so much richness here. And it's just up to us to take in these cards and to deepen into their messages for each of us, and then collectively feels pretty powerful to look at what we're nurturing.
Mhm.
What is it that we're nurturing? Beautiful read. Love it. Okay, Jenna, I know you have to go, so I'll talk more about the wheel workshop, which is on Saturday. Is there any last word you have before you?
I just thank you. Thank you for receiving. I'm so excited for the Wheel of the Year. It's something that I do every year with Denise at this point. And um, we will have, an opportunity at the end of Wheel of the Year where you can reflect every month on the cards as we go through the months, which can be really helpful. I think the last thing I'll say is that tarot I've found in the last couple of years has been such a expander for me when I look back. So it's actually like retro
Yeah.
retroactive. How do you say that? Like
Yeah.
retrospective?
Retrospective.
Retrospective.
Mhm.
And so even when you pull the cards and you're unsure, even if you're like not quite sure what it's pertaining to or means, take a photo of it and
Mhm.
just sit with it or leave the card out for a little bit. And the messages can be pretty profound. So yeah, and just thank you. I'm excited to see whomever is there. And also just excited to see you all today. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I will see you soon, and I will see you with a lot of others on Saturday for our tea and tarot. Thank you so much for joining, and have a really good day. And I'm going to stay filming for now, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the astrology now.
Beautiful. Thank
Okay.
you so much, Denise.
Okay.
Take care. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
All right, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of astrology before I finish our reporting. The nodal shift is happening this coming weekend on the 11th, which is the day of our workshop. So there's reasons why we chose the day that we chose, and many of you are already signed up, but if you're not, there is a way to do so, and I can easily put it in the chat if you give me for a minute. If you're listening to this later, then I will put it in the comments of YouTube. But for those of you who are here right now, I will do this. Voila. And you can, I'm going to give you a special code for those of you that are here now, if you haven't already signed up, for 25% off. Okay. All right. So there's your special code. Okay. So let's talk a little astrology. When there's a nodal shift, things in the collective, they do have to change. We're given a spectrum of change. So we're going to kind of look at where we've been or where we are right now and then where we're going. So we look at the nodes right now, Aries, Libra. Okay. So nodes are about destiny, and I have strong feelings about that word, but what is destiny? It is something we co-create. All right. So destiny is a path that's open to us. One of the ways I like to explain our personal nodes is, what did I promise my soul I would do this time around? What did I promise I would learn? Where did I promise I would evolve? And then our personal node gives us the stretch. And the south node, so there's a north node and a south node. The south node gives us gifts that we can bring into this lifetime, and the north node is our stretch. Okay. So what's fun about when Jenna and I work together, and we didn't notice this at first, but everything was so easeful and there was so much interplay that worked, that we looked at a synastry chart between the two of us, and we realized that not only are our suns opposite, so she's exactly opposite sun in Scorpio to my sun in Taurus, but our nodes are opposite. And so she has Capricorn North Node and I have Cancer North Node, and so we're really working the same spectrum. So the spectrum of the nodes is what's key here. It's where we get our balance. So Aries, Libra, self and other are the simplest way to explain Aries and Libra. But there are a lot of other pieces that we've been working with throughout this time. The Aries energy is very much about active and movement and getting out there. There's a lot of emotion underneath an Aries, and those of you who are Aries can relate, underneath the Aries energy. Okay. Libra is an air sign. Aries is a fire sign. Libra is an air sign. And while Libra is, yes, about the other begins with the understanding that you have to know yourself. And from a Libra perspective, you're getting to know yourself, but then you're always taking in the collective. You're always wondering how others are doing, how they're feeling. The north node has been in Aries. So there's been a big focus on, what do I want? What do I want? And there's been a lot of I want. in the collective, right? So the healing that comes from the South Node is to hopefully try to balance the needs of how we come together, how we share. Justice. Libra has a real strong element of justice, balance, obviously, and equilibrium. The Aries energy is very strong and it wants to propel us forward. So, how do we do both? How do we heal from a place of balance and equilibrium and take care of ourselves and others? And how do we go forward with energy? So, that's really what we've been doing for about a little over 2 years. Okay. Now we are really shifting. The node moves, what we would say is backwards, but it's its path. It moves into Pisces. The North Node is moving from Aries into Pisces, which is deep and mystical, spiritual, and watery. Okay. The South Node moves into Virgo, Earth sign, powerful, grounded, centered, very much to do with healing. When we start weaving it all together, which that takes a lot, and we have to, this is what I do all day, right? I'm looking at all the pieces and weaving them all together. But this idea of how am I healing, or how are we healing the earth to begin with? How are we healing the lives that we're living? How are we offering healing in ways that are deeply connected to compassion? That's the Pisces thing. Okay. So deeply connected to compassion. And, it always helps to start with yourself. How am I connecting with my compassion? What is compassion? What does that mean? How do I want to bring that into the world? So we have a couple years, to work with this. But I want to just say that I've noticed in all the sessions that I've been having, this Aries Pisces axis. So remember, they're side by side in the chart. Anytime any planet passes from one sign to another, there's a change. And we have Saturn going from Pisces into Aries. We have Neptune going from Pisces into Aries. And now we have the node going from Aries into Pisces. This is all happening this year. And we begin this weekend with a shift. And so I really want to just let each of you know that in your charts where you see the Aries and Pisces coming together, that line, you look to see what that is showing you. What is it? So for me, there's still this emphasis on health and well-being. There's still an emphasis on work and play. So it's not changing too much today. It will, because they're just the way charts are. It'll shift and move in different ways over the next couple of years. But there's something that I can still garner. There's wisdom, that Saturnian wisdom that still wants to come forward. So I think the best inquiry that you could be in right now for this week, especially with that Mars retrograde in Cancer, right, is how do I feel? How do I feel? How do I feel in my body? How do I feel in my mind? How do I feel in my heart? How do I feel in my soul? And then the next question is, what do I want? So feeling-based decision-making is not a bad thing, she says, as a very feeling-based decision-making person. But feeling-based decision-making means setting yourself in a really good place, setting a container that allows you to feel what you feel, right? Allows you to access your wisdom and your discernment. Those are very Saturn words. And start with your feelings. How do I feel? So often we're told, or I am as the feeling-based decision maker, you can't make decisions based on your feelings. Well, yeah, you can. Then they're not always great. You can do it. But what you can do is take your feelings and you can apply discernment. You can take how you feel and then ask, what do I really want? Is that what I really want? Is there something else that I want? What else would be a better choice? What else is possible? There's a lot of ways to go into this inquiry. And I think starting there will help with the collective because we have to know ourselves first. We have to understand what our motivations are first. And so, how do I feel is a really good inquiry for the week. And every week we'll have a new inquiry, but I think that's a good one to start with. And for me, journaling is pretty much the best way to access that. Um, I don't I don't do well just thinking about things. It's better for me to write them down, right? I get lost in my own thoughts if I try to think something through. So write it down, spend some time with it, take a walk. Sometimes I'll just take a walk and then write it down. But just be in your feelings and let that be okay. Let that be the truth of it all, right? It's good. It's good. And we're going to be supported in that. Now, um, there's more to say. We have lots of cosmic compass conversations for this year to say them. I'm going to end our recording now and I'm going to say a couple things offline. And then if you guys have any questions, I'll take some questions or your thoughts. So thank you for listening. Oh, and yes, TN Tarot, Wheel of the Year, Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific to 2 p.m. Pacific. Okay. All right.